Welcome to the Imaginal Life podcast. I'm Frances LaCuesta, and I help women thrive and live a life they love. Together, we'll explore how to tap into our potential, unlock possibilities, and find beauty in this messy and imperfect journey we call life. Hey friends, in this episode, I'll share with you a simple philosophy I apply in my life called "This moment is a pearl." And this is one way for me to celebrate life's little moments. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This moment is a pearl is actually a philosophy that I've been applying and following in my life for the past few years. I took inspiration from one of the scenes of my favorite movies called Begin Again, and this one's from director John Carney. The movie has this sense of nostalgia and bittersweetness to it that I remember just falling in love with the film the first time I watched it. And there is this one particular scene where the characters, played by Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley, and they were walking in the streets of New York, and they were just having a grand time. They had this headphone splitter, and they were listening to the same music together, just completely lost and immersed in that moment. And so I remembered while watching that sequence, I just completely fell in love with that whole sequence, and I felt like I was with them too. I was there. I was experiencing it with them. And so the scene ended with the two of them just sitting on the sidewalk and just watching people, just walking by and just doing the ordinary, mundane, random things. And during this time, they were having this conversation. And Mark's character said that in reference to the music, that he likes music because it turns all these banal scenes into things with so much meaning into it. And in his words, he said, all these banalities turn into these beautiful effervescent pearls, which is such a beautiful line. And while he was referring to the effect of the music in that moment. And then he went on to say that these pearls are becoming increasingly more and more rare to me, he said. And to which Keira Knightley's character responded and said, more strings than pearls. And Mark's character went on to say, yes, you need to travel to a lot more strings to get to the pearls. And he looks at her with that kind of sadness and deep longing and even love and said, this moment is a pearl. All of this is a pearl. And I remembered just completely struck by it, by that phrase. Somehow it just stuck with me the whole time. That phrase, this moment is a pearl. And I made this into a philosophy I bring with me wherever I go. In the ordinary, everyday experience, I would take a snapshot of each moment I feel to capture the pearl and freeze frame it in my mind instead of literally taking a photograph, even if I'm tempted to sometimes just dish up my phone and take a picture. Just taking this photo in my mind, I would also have this imaginary string and this imaginary pearl, and I would just string that pearl. That is that moment I'll keep with me forever, for as long as I can remember, for as long as my mind works properly, that is. I've shared this philosophy with some people I know and dear to me, and thought maybe this little wisdom I have is also worth sharing to others, from which perhaps they can benefit from it too. the same way that I was inspired by just that one scene or that one phrase in the movie. One of my teachers is John Kabat-Zinn, known as the father of mindfulness, at least in the West. And he has this quote, "The little things, the little moments, they're not little." By sharing this with you, I hope it inspires you to see the world differently, with fresh eyes, like seeing them for the first time. Do not take the little things for granted, and to remember that even in the most difficult situation, there's that pearl in there waiting to be discovered. To cultivate a beginner's mind, and in the process, gather pearls along the way. After all, you cannot go wrong with a lot of pearls. And so the symbol of a pearl is actually of wealth and purity and new beginnings. How even a pearl is created is a beautiful metaphor for life. A pearl is made when an irritant or a foreign substance enters the oyster. In the process of the oyster to protect itself, it creates a pearl. And I liken this to the lotus flower and how it needed the mud for it to bloom. And so with this, I hope you join me in this journey in finding pearls in everyday mundane things and learning how to simply savor life and gather as many pearls as we can, because we can never run out of it if we pay attention. If we really bring ourselves, we can find it even in the most difficult and challenging situations. All right, my dear beautiful Imaginals, that's it for me today. Thank you for joining me. Until the next episode, goodbye for now. Thank you for listening. You can read and download a full transcript at bigimpactwomen.com/The Imaginal Life. If you like this episode and want to hear more, hit the subscribe button in your favorite podcast app. If you feel moved and inspired, head to iTunes and leave us a review. I love hearing your feedback on how we can continue to grow and evolve the program. I believe when women come together, we can co-create humanity's new story